I found some pretty amazing structures tonight in Antarctica, guys, and I just have to show you this. I was going to wait until tomorrow, but just for reference, the part here of Antarctica closest to Argentina, if you just follow it straight up along the right-hand side, you'll come to, and this is away from the coast, what looks like a mountain, but I think it's actually a very large either crashed ship or underground complex of some kind. Now, I found another cable, and wait till I show you this. I know a lot of people have said these aren't cables, these are just artifacts of the process that Google is putting out. It's not. It's absolutely not, and this cable proves it, or I should say, perhaps tunnel. I found this one, and I found two more sections up here that might be part of it, but we'll get to that later. Now, over here where the high definition begins, the red line is my reference line. The cable itself is right next to it, and at this point it's very, very, very hard to see. It's right here. Up here closer, there's a snowdrift that goes through that actually makes it a little bit easier to see. I don't know if you can see it right here. Now, I don't know if this is a snowdrift or another. It looks like just an artifact of the wind, but this is where you can really truly see this evidence of a tunnel or a cable. Now, as you track this, where this ends is no coincidence. It wouldn't end where it does if it was an artifact of Google. Okay, now it goes through here, and I know it got really dark there, but you can see it a little bit better here now. And it's still there. They always track either, like I said, directly north-south or directly east-west, one way or the other. Never in any other direction. Now, here is where, and I'll show you, it's still here. You can see it right here. This is where it ends. And it looks like what is like a cave structure or some type of a mountain. But when you back out, look at this. You see how the snow all changes? It's hard to get in high def unless you're at a very steep angle, which I'm going to try to do, but it's this perfectly round disk of snow. Let's see if I can zoom out this. There we go. Look at this. Look at this perfectly round, undisturbed patch of snow out here amidst all this wind-blown stuff and pockmarks, and all of a sudden there's just undisturbed sheet. And that's where this tunnel ends. The only disturbance I can find is way out here in the middle. And I'll ask you guys what you think this is, because it is not anything that looks... If it's a rock, it's the loneliest little rock in the world. Oh, darn it. Hold on. There we go. Because it's the only thing in the middle of this giant, perfectly round patch of snow. It's just so amazingly out of place. There's these little, I don't know what, little pock marks or dimples next to it. But I'll zoom out on this one more time. It's glaringly apparent that it is out of place here. That there's no wind. The wind isn't affecting this for some reason, if this all around it truly is wind. Now, one of the strange things about the way the quote-unquote wind is affecting this is you see these weird, square, brick-like tile patterns everywhere out here in this region. It's just completely unnatural. Here, I don't know if you guys can pick it up, but there's a definite reddish stain all through this part of the snow. And a lot of people said, well, it's iron deposits or this, that, or the other. But there's another spot over here where it's just straight up blood. You see, I've seen the wind do a lot of things to snow. And like I said, I was born in the Midwest. I've seen snow before. I've never seen it do this. I've never seen it create perfect rectangular structures like this in the snow. Now, let me show you this real quick, just to get it out of the way. Don't tell me this is an iron deposit. Darn it. Always zoom in a little bit too close. And, of course, there I lose it. 1 second. Let me change the angle here. This is the hard part. To get some of these things to show up, you've got to come in at real steep angles, and it can sometimes be a little difficult to maintain a good shot of things. All right, here we go. Now, this is not iron. There's just no way. This is not a deposit of iron. This is way too beet red for this. I'll zoom in as close as I can. That's about as good as I can get, because I have to maintain to show you some of the things I want to show you. There we go. That's a little better. I'm sorry, but that's blood. And it's right by the mouth of this enormous, dark, what looks like a cave. So, wouldn't be surprising. You see, this is just weird. And what you can see here is that someone is trying to block something out here. I don't know if you can see this very faint block texture here. There's something that is trying to be hidden. This just doesn't look wind-blown. It looks like something completely otherworldly is affecting this. And here, it's what looks like almost like soot or smoke is coming out of here. The way it's kind of staining the air or right around where that opening is. Now here, once again, we see, look at this. Look at the scaling, the perfect block. This is not evidence of the wind. And I don't know, tell me what you think here. Does that look like the face of a dog or a bear or some kind of a large cat? Dang it, I did it again. I don't know, that looks like a face to me. And I did the measurement, this is 40 feet across. I'll put these locations all, of course, in the description. And over here, this almost looks like, if I didn't know any better, it looks like a shark, like a jaw here. And do you see the eye here? And what looks like the mouth there? I have no idea what's going on over here, but this definitely looks like an eye. This area is just creepy. Here, this looks like a very out of place disk structure right here. And over here, this is where things, I started to notice, instead of red, I was picking up these strange hues of green and yellow. And it dawned on me, this might be gold. We've seen the mountains of purple and the mountains of green. This might be the reflections of gold. And that's not the only place. We've got a little bit here, but there's a huge section up here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, check this out. These look like veins, large veins of gold. Just everywhere through here. This is more evidence of that just scaling for some reason. And over here, now this is going to be a little bit more opinion-based, but it almost looks, if you look at this closely, like this might be a grave. Gosh dang it. You zoom in too close, it puts you all the way down in a ground level view. But here would be the head, here would be the chest, right here, and the legs would be down here. And I know that might be a little bit of a reach, but there's just some very odd things down here that just seem way, way out of place. This just seems like it's possibly something that used to be living here. And it would explain all of these squares if these are all, in fact, graves of some kind. Or pods, perhaps. Because they just don't seem normal. They don't seem... I've never seen the wind do this on this scale. Create these blocks. I know we're at 13 minutes, but I mean, look at this. Just out of nowhere, this windswept hill, and you have this scaly looking triangular formations just out of nowhere. And what look like entrances. And when you pull out and you see this, it's very clear that this circle is something completely unnatural. That, of course, has a strange tunnel that leads to it that you can trace. I think I got everything in this. There's a couple other areas. This here is just another cable that I found. This one's a little bit easier to see. And like I said, the dark black one is just my reference line. And once again, it either runs east-west directly on the cardinal directions or north-south. Now this one's kind of odd because it dead ends out here. And where it turns red here, This is hypothetical because I've found another section of cabling, but it's offset over here. It uncovers from some layers, but it's way offset, so there would have to be some other cable system that would connect these two. And there's almost evidence of it here in the snow. But this would be the only cable section I've found right here that didn't run east, west, north, south. This would have an angle to it right here. But anyway, that and one final thing. Now this has more of a natural take on it, but there's something odd about this. It looks like just a lake underneath the ice is uncovering. And up here there's a kind of a purple, roundish, looks like part of that lake. And here there's another one of those weird round disks of snow. Now this is December 2012. If we go forward 1 year, we can see that this gets darker over here, meaning that it looks like more ice is melted. But this disk right here doesn't change. So if this is just a pond or some type of a lake that's formed from the melting, why didn't that same melting affect this disk here? See, if we back up to 12, you can see it's a lot more faint, but this is the same. And if we go back to 11, this is completely frozen over, and this has stayed the same. So 11, that melts, that doesn't change. That melts even more, that doesn't change. 2014, it goes away, and that thing down here still doesn't change. And it looks like it's just a disk of snow, but why would it remain perfectly round like this through that entire sequence of events? You would think if that other thing froze over and melted, that this would have been affected the same way. So I just wanted to cover that. But thank you guys. I'm going to continue to look into this. It's like I said, this is a whole different area of Antarctica that we haven't really looked at much before. As you can see, there's no other markings around it, so we'll see what we can find. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe.